The legendary Red Robin restaurant chain arose from a tiny site near the University Bridge. It's a behemoth restaurant chain with 546 outlets in 44 states and British Columbia, known for lighthearted TV commercials that end with a resonant voiceover chorus of "Yum." However, the enterprise reportedly took root in 1916 as a tiny grocery perched above Portage Bay just a stone's toss from the south end of University Bridge. By 1926, it was an eatery. Seattle Times classified ads reflect a tenuous tenure. July 1st, 1926, hamburger, waffles, busy corner, rent $30. March 31st, 1929, for sale, cheap lunchroom, rent $30 a month. Owner leaving town, come to see it Monday if you want a bargain. January 7th, 1930, partner, established cafe, small investment, new taxi stand, must stay open nights, too long hours for one. Ads and Polk directory listings reference a succession of 12 proprietors and a bevy of business names for the property at 3272 Furman Avenue East. It was the Zimmerman Cafe, the Bridge Cafe, B's Corner Cafe, Ann's Corner Cafe, and, starting in 1942, the Red Robin Tavern. That name stuck. Legend has it that in the 1940s, the watering hole's avian appellation originated from tavern keeper Samuel Gaston, whose barbershop quartet warbled the 1926 hit "When the Red Robin Comes Bob Bobbin' Along," and who added Sam's to the name for good measure. But Polk listings indicate that Gaston assumed ownership later, in 1953. No matter, legends can befit a storied suds house. By the late 1960s, the Robin, as it was known, was a bohemian hangout, says Paul Gillingham, then a University of Washington philosophy and history student, folk singer, and motorcyclist. Strictly a tavern, offering popcorn and horrible Polish sausages as the only food, the 1,500-square-foot pub bulged with students, Gillingham says. Some would take bets on who would jump off the bridge. One morning in 1969, Gillingham vroomed by and photographed the dilapidated saloon, its awning ragged and sagging. That year, Gaston sold the Robin to fledgling Seattle restaurateur Jerry Kingen, triggering a final night legendarily rowdy free-for-all. Kingen expanded the Robin, adding a huge deck, and dropped Sam's from its name. Later, he transformed it into a hamburger emporium and opened namesakes citywide. Starting in 1985, the chain went to outside interests that eventually grew Red Robin into a national presence. The initial eatery closed in 2010 and was raised in 2014, yielding to a 3-floor retail residential complex dubbed the Robin's Nest. Today, you can find a Red Robin in 31 Washington cities. Perhaps fittingly, if sadly, only one remains in Seattle, at Northgate, 5 miles from the original site. In our first then photo, this north-facing view from 1969 by Paul Gillingham, today a retired trial lawyer and Ravenna resident, shows Sam's Red Robin Tavern at 3272 Furman Avenue East, near the south end of University Bridge. Heidelberg and Budweiser boxes and a beer keg lie next to a now rare telephone booth. Seattle Times restaurant columnist John Hinterberger cracked, "In the old Robin, if they'd passed a pool cue around, somebody would have smoked it." In our second then photo, in a 1937 view looking northeast, the building that became the Red Robin Tavern 5 years later operates as all-night B's Corner Cafe, advertising Pabst Blue Ribbon and painted out Heidelberg beer. In our third then photo, In this northeast-facing view, the Red Robin Tavern stands in April 1970 after Jerry Kingen purchased and expanded it, posting a cartoon logo near the door. Kingen converted it to what he termed an emporium for dozens of hamburger styles. I basically created a grown-up's McDonald's, he recalled in a 2010 Seattle Times interview. Today, two men carry away a food order from the 3-floor Robin's Nest retail residential complex on the initial Red Robin site, in a wider north-facing view that takes in part of the mid-1960s Interstate 5 ship canal bridge to the west, or left. The building houses 61 apartments and a ground-floor pizzeria. A protruding decorative bird signals the site's history.